What is up, my friends? Welcome to Showtop Games. I'm your turtle host, and today we'll be doing a casual review of the 1 to 6 player game Dodos Riding Dinos, designed by Ruben Hernandez, published by Detestable Games and Draco Studios. On a side note, if you're into the weird style and title of this game, the studio has also produced some other weird avian associated type games. There's War for Chicken Island, and a new one in the works called Kiwi Chowdown. So what's in the box? Well, we got this really nice, funny, cartoony little instruction booklet, not too long, easy read. We got two pretty well designed double-sided game boards for the racetracks. A little plastic cover over here. 12 individually colored miniatures to represent your dinos with their dodos. Deck of cards for the movement actions. Colored meeples, just in case you don't want to play with the miniatures. Power-up cards if you're playing on cup mode. The fun little projectiles that you'll be using throughout the game. The racer cards with their names and their information. And these two absolutely gigantic dice. So what is this game? Well, Dodos Riding Dinos is a racing game with dice rolling, card drawing, and a bit of dexterity thrown into the mix. The races are set around a mysterious place called Dodino Island, and apparently a new ruler is needed. According to the lore of this game, the ancient succession ritual requires the dinosaurs of the island to grab a worthy dodo bird and race with it to the finish line. First one to do so is the new ruler of Dodino Island. Seriously, I can't make this stuff up, but shame on you if you're surprised by any of this information after seeing the title of this game. So as you can see with the game board, a race is always going to be circular, and that you're just trying to complete one lap in order to win. There's an inner circle for shorter games, and a larger outer circle if you want the experience to last longer. Choosing between the smaller circle and the larger track will not modify any mechanics or add any new rules, and really just serves to give you more dodo and dino action. Each participating player is going to choose their favorite dodo and dino duo and grab their character sheet and miniature. The game pieces come in meeple form as well as the cool plastic versions. But honestly, I don't know anybody who'd rather play with the wooden ones when the studio spent so much time making these awesome miniatures though. And depending on who you've chosen, there's also going to be a special ability that is unique to just your racer. This adds some variety between the players. I mean, you're not going to experience a huge difference between the racers, but it's a nice touch and it adds some variety to the game. If you want to have a more simple bare bones competition, the game also says you can play without these unique characteristics. For instance, this Dodo and Dino duo, Osborne and Ronaldo, can deal extra damage when it's flinging projectiles at other racers. So each player is going to draw 6 cards to start the game, and this will show them what abilities they can use, how much they can move, and also represent how much health they have. There's going to be 2 phases for each player's turn. The scheming phase, which you get to select a single card to play. This card is placed face down until everybody is ready to reveal. And then there's the running phase, which is when racers will actually be moving around the track and activating any eligible abilities that was present on their card selected from the scheming phase. Players take their turn in order from first player, and at the end of each turn, if a racer has no cards in their hand, they have to move back 3 hexes and redraw their hand. So as you're racing for the crown in this game, players are going to want to keep in mind that every time they play an ability, it's also going to subtract from their total health pool. So there are 3 types of cards, all color-coded for easy reference. The blue cards are considered normal, and will move the racer a number of hexes according to the corner symbol over here. It also may come with an ability that's going to be shown over here. The red cards are aggressive cards and tend to be stronger than the blue cards, but it comes at the risk of becoming enraged. If 2 or more players play a red card, remember, you won't know this until everybody reveals their schemes, then those dinos become enraged and their abilities on their red cards will not activate. So these cards can be really powerful or really meh depending on the outcomes. Lastly, there's the green reaction cards. These can only be played during the running phase and don't even have to be played on your turn. They can block an opponent's ability, give you speed boosts, and other neat things. Right, so after each player has taken their turn, the round ends with everybody drawing a card into their hand, except the person in the current lead. That person advances one more space, but draws nothing new, making it so that they have fewer ability choices and also less health. Kinda like when you're playing Mario Kart and you're in first place, so all you get are the useless, unfun items. And speaking of items, the game gives you an arsenal of interesting projectiles to play with. These objects are the primary source of damage and dexterity in the game. Usually, if they touch a player, including the owner of the projectile, the racer will have to give up cards. Now remember, this is your health. If getting hit by a projectile empties your hand, you'll have to move back spaces, 3 to be precise. And it's not uncommon for a lot of other players to gang up on whoever's in first place. Now this meteorite gets dropped a foot above the game table. The eggs are flicked with one finger across the board. The banana is thrown from your hand, making sure that your elbow is on the table and only your wrist is moving. The feather is tossed a foot away from the game table, and the log is rolled over your figure, making sure that your fingers touch your figure as the log rolls onto the game board. It may seem like a lot of strange things to remember, but it does get easier with a few plays. Now the game continues from player to player with the first player token getting passed around each round until somebody crosses the finish line. To add some variety to these races, the game does come with 4 total racetracks. There is the basic Dodino Island with no extra mechanics. There's the Ignis Volcano, which has special hexes that allow you to draw discarded cards or deal damage to other racers. There's the Polaris Iceberg, which has shortcuts tossed into it. And there's also the Boreal Sky, which has ramps that you have to jump across using your best flicking skills. It's also important to note that AI racers can be added if you have a low player count. The more dinos, the better. These come in easy, medium, and hard difficulties, and will base their movement off the color of the cards. Although they won't use abilities, they'll definitely add some life to the board if you want it. For blue cards, you move the value on the card plus what is shown over here. For red cards, you multiply that number, and for green cards, you roll the dice and move that many spaces. And lastly, the game also has a 4-race cup mode, which has you compete on all the tracks that come with the game, trying to gain more fans than the opposing racers. After each race, the top racer gets fans, which kind of act like victory points, and the bottom racers get these power-up cards. These can be employed in the future to kind of balance things out. So what do I like about this game? Well, let's just start with the minis. They're so cute and interesting and colorful. I mean, if I'm being honest, this was the whole reason why I bought this game. I love the way they look, and I just think that the art style that the game uses is so funny, so silly, and so adorable at the same time. I mean, just look at these minis. They're actually quite detailed with quite a bit of weight to them. They're color-coded, they're cute, and they're just really nice to move around on the board. And also, I think that the movement cards that come with this game are also hilarious, adorable, and share that same silly style that you'd see across the rest of the game. I mean, look at these. Karma. Look at these dinosaurs crawling out of the hole. I just love looking at it. I love seeing what abilities that they have, and it's just good fun. And again, there's not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 tracks that come with this game. And they're actually really nice quality. They have this thickness and durability to them that I really like, and they don't bend, they don't curve, and they stay flat on the table without you having to put a bunch of books on them. Check out that glossy finish on the Boreal racetrack. And it's awesome that this game includes the option for AI racers. I mean, obviously, it's much better at higher player counts with actual humans controlling the figures, but sometimes you're not going to be able to get together with that many people, and sometimes if it's just you and a bunny, it's kind of nice to have a board that can look like this instead of just, something like that. How am I losing to these AI racers? They can't even use abilities. And another thing I like about this game, if you couldn't already tell from this review, it's pretty short, it's sweet, it's simple, it's silly, and it's really easy to teach. I mean, you roll dice when it tells you to roll dice, you play the cards and do the effects on the cards, and you just move your figure around in a circle and hope to make it to the finish line before your opponents. With each game lasting between 15 to 25 minutes, it's a nice, fun game you can play with your family and your friends who might not be into hardcore gaming. And if you want a longer experience, it's nice that the game offers a cup mode. So, really, it just depends on what you're in the mood for. If you want to do one single race, do one single race. If you want to do a whole cup mode with power up cards and fans, go ahead and do that. The world is your oyster. Also, throwing these projectiles at your opponents and actually landing a hit feels pretty freakishly spectacular. Kind of gives you that feel of Mario Kart, Crash Team Racing, whatever was your jam. Also, I kind of like it that they made the red cards, which are the more aggressive, powerful cards, more risky to play. I mean, sometimes you're just sitting there sweating like, should I play this? Is anybody else going to play an aggressive card? If I play this and nobody else does, it's going to be really awesome. But if somebody else, one other person has another aggressive card, then it's going to be a terrible, terrible card play with just one movement. Everybody wanted to be special by playing a red card. Well, now nobody's special. Alright, so what's some stuff that people might not like about this game? Well, to start, and I mean, like, if your group is like super awesome and never makes mistakes, then this is not going to affect you. But the inclusion of the two tracks on the same board sometimes gets a little bit confusing. I mean, sometimes, really, just sometimes, somebody might make the mistake of moving on to the wrong track just because they're so close together and they're just hexes. And it's really miserating when you find out that you're on the wrong space and you lose track of where you are and you don't know how many turns ago you made that mistake, and then people kind of just looking at you like, why and how could you be so dumb that you moved on to the wrong track? Dude, how long have you been on that track? Then, speaking of the board hexes, I mean, it could get a little bit crowded in this game. Take a look at this, for example. I mean, all these dinos are trying to get on the same hex. It's rare that something like this might happen, but it could happen. And yes, although I said it feels nice when you're chucking a projectile and you're hitting your opponent, at the same time, when you're tossing these wooden pieces and it's hitting against the nice cardboard board, you just feel your soul die a little bit on the inside as it smashes into the cardboard, and you're afraid that there's going to be a dent or mark left over on the board. I guess it's just something you have to get used to. And while we're on the topic of these projectiles, I just want to say some of the rules for how these things are used can probably lead to a lot of heated arguments. I mean, the meteor needs to be dropped a foot off the table, and you're going to have these rule checkers that are going to be like, no, that's a foot and 1 centimeter. No, that's a little bit too less. That didn't count. That you got to redo that again. And because these projectiles can cause so much damage and move you back spaces, the strange rules that come with using these may end up costing you the game. And a lot of people are going to have an issue with the balancing of this game. I mean, there is luck, but some of these cards do seem a little bit unfair, and sometimes you could be really far ahead, and somebody plays something like this and gets to roll 3 dice and moves that amount. So if they get lucky and they roll 3 6s, you're telling me they can move 18 hexes with one move while you're looking at your card and you're thinking, well, I just moved one space on my turn compared to their 18. I don't really feel like this game is treating me right. In case you didn't know what 18 spaces look like, let me just show you. That's 18 spaces. And also, the game doesn't really specify how the timing works with the reaction cards, yes, you can play them on other people's turns and your turns during the running phase, but sometimes, one person wants to play one thing, another person wants to play at the same time, and there's not really a clarification as to who gets priority or what exactly happens in those cases. And the maps, I mean, yeah, the maps are gorgeous, and it's nice that the game gives you four different ones. But at the same time, you know, each map doesn't really do much of anything too different. I mean, it's nice that they have one or two extra mechanics, but those one or two extra mechanics don't really change the feel of the game all that much. You're still running around in a track. You're still relying on your movement cards, those little gimmicks that you can do, like on the volcano area with the fireballs or with the shortcuts in the ice map. Some people are just going to want more variety than what these game maps are going to provide them for each race. And yeah, this game is really simple. It's going to be possibly a turnoff for some people looking for a little bit more. You are just moving in a circle, trying to make it to the finish line. You are just playing one card each turn and reading its effects. You are just rolling dice and seeing how many spaces you can move. Yeah, you get to throw things at each other, but mechanically, this game is not that deep. So, overall, I like this game. This game does what it sets out to do. I mean, the name of the game is Dodos Riding Dinos. If you came into this expecting a tight, heavy mechanic, intricate game, then I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, I immediately backed this game because of the cute art style and miniatures, not really knowing how the game worked. I didn't want heavy mechanics, I wanted a silly game that was easy and fun to play, and this game pretty much does that. Are there a lot of shortcomings with this game? Yes. It can seem unfair at times, you can get really unlucky, players can gang up on you, and the game board isn't really going to have much going on top of it, but it's quick, it's easy to teach, and it won't destroy your brain either. So I recommend this game to people who like silly looking cute things and want something easy and fun to play with your family or friends. There's also a Mario Kart sort of vibe that comes with this game too, so that's also a plus for fans of that series. If you're alright with the game not making much sense, love the simplicity of just running around a circular track, and enjoy the weird moments when you have to fling a wooden projectile at a plastic dinosaur, then this game might just be what you're looking for. I wouldn't recommend this game if you're offended by the blunt and strange title of this game, or if you're looking for something heavier and crunchier. This game is not going to offer you much in the mechanics department, and may even upset you when it comes to how unbalanced it can be sometimes. Also, if you're not really a miniatures person, this game is really going to seem a bit bare bones to you. The game just isn't really going to offer anything new or intuitive. I give this game a silver shell.
Hey, buddies here! Who wouldn't like a game that has colorful solid figures, funny card illustrations, easy mechanics, and a short play time? Plus, if you have never gotten a chance to win Mario Kart because turtles are just too good at that game, this is your chance. When it comes to throwing bananas, rolling logs, and flipping eggs on cardboard, bunnies are just naturally better. I've waited almost 2 years to get this game. It does not disappoint. Overall, I love this game. Gold carrot for me!
Thank you for joining us today. If there's anything that you'd like to add, comment in the section below. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We'll see you next time.